Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks. With the Spain News Update, we'll have a look at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the press today in Spain, and we'll also take a look at some comments that have been left on the channel in recent times. Before I begin, a huge thanks to all of the people that have supported the channel in recent times, whether it's by buying me a coffee or through the Super Thanks option on YouTube, my longer term supporters on Patreon, and the channel members of this YouTube channel. Thank you very much for your support. Now, straight into the news. And a couple of days ago, the mayor of Barcelona announced that the city is going to ban short-term tourist rentals in an attempt to alleviate the housing crisis in that city for locals. However, according to some experts, it might not fix the problem at all. As we can read here, Barcelona announces radical step of banning all tourist rentals, but the housing crisis will only get worse. Just like many other places in Spain, you can't rent a Barcelona property to tourists on a short-term basis unless you have the right type of tourist rental license issued by the city government. And yesterday, Jaume Collboni, the current mayor of Barcelona, announced that no more licenses will be granted or renewed, which means that legal tourist rentals will have gone from the city by November 2028, when the last licenses expire. It's a sunset policy for holiday letting licenses in Barcelona. The move is being sold as a way to ease the city's housing crisis, which is a major source of frustration and anxiety for local residents or voters. However, tourist apartments represent just 0.77% of Barcelona's housing stock, said Enrique Alcántara, president of the Barcelona Tourist Apartments Association, Upton, in response to the news. Getting rid of them will not solve the housing access problem. All it will do is increase the number of illegal tourist rentals. Upton will fight the policy in court in what could be a long and difficult legal dispute. So there we go. Barcelona announces a radical policy to eliminate all short-term tourist rentals in the city. But as we saw in the article, according to some, the housing crisis will only get worse. And why? Well, as we also saw in that article, tourist rentals in Barcelona only account for 0.77% of the housing stock. So a populist measure from no doubt a populist mayor in that city that, according to some, won't have an effect on the housing crisis. Time will tell. Second piece of news now, and also related to the housing crisis here in Spain, and another Mediterranean city just down the coast from Barcelona, Valencia, is also calling for a ban on short-term holiday rentals. As we can read here, the PSPV proposes to imitate Barcelona and eliminate all tourist flats in Valencia in 4 years. The PSPV of Valencia urges the mayoress, Maria José Català, to follow the line set by Barcelona and, within 4 years, to eliminate all tourist flats in the city and convert them into housing. This is after the Barcelona City Council, governed by the socialist Jaume Collboni, has proposed to eliminate all tourist flats in the city by November 2028 in order to convert them to residential use. In Valencia, we have a very serious problem that has led us to approve, among all the political forces, a moratorium to prevent new openings, recalls the deputy spokesman of the PSPV in Valencia, Borja San Juan. So first, Barcelona announces a ban on tourist rentals, and now Valencia saying that they need the same thing, because tourist rentals are destroying the city, according to that political group. So first Barcelona, second maybe Valencia, and how many other cities here in Spain are going to do the same thing. So if you have invested in a tourist rental here in Spain, in any city, be careful, things might change soon. Now the next piece of news we'll look at today, and it's an interesting piece of news that tells us exactly where Spain is currently at. As we can read here, the extraordinary case of Spain, where pensioners are the highest income group in society. The inflationary crisis has not been experienced equally by all households. Those who have found work have clearly improved their situation, but those who were already employed have suffered a significant drop in their purchasing power. In between are pensioners who have been protected from any price increases since 2021, when indexation to the CPI was restored. Pensioners received the big increase in their benefits in 2023, when the rise corresponding to the previous year's inflation inflation was applied, a rise of 8.5%, double the rise in wages. This increase consolidated Spain's extraordinary case. It is one of only 3 of the 27 EU countries in which the income of pensioners is higher than that of the rest of the population. So, there we go, an interesting piece of news, as I said, and congratulations to Spanish pensioners because you are, according to that text, the highest income group in Spanish society. And the final piece of news we'll look at today, and again, some of the challenges that the tourism industry in this country is facing going forward, making headlines today. As we can read here, too much sun, not enough beach. Climate change is already transforming tourism in Spain. For half a century, sun and beach tourism has been king in Spain. An enviable climate and long, peaceful Mediterranean beaches have attracted millions of domestic and foreign visitors in search of tranquility or partying in the summer months. But what happens when the sun is too hot to lie on the sun lounger, or the beaches run out of sand because of the constant storms? Climate change is already affecting tourism in Spain, the second most visited country in the world, with significant consequences for the country's main industry, which accounts for almost 13% of GDP. A recent report by the Bank of Spain pointed out that the crisis could be causing tourists to move to destinations with more moderate temperatures in summer. In fact, cooler destinations such as the communities of the Cantabrian Sea, Navarra and La Rioja recorded an increase in visitors of 26% in 2023 compared to pre-pandemic levels. So there we go, and the article sums up the problem perfectly. Some parts of Spain are just too hot to go to the beach nowadays. That is, if you can find any beach left at all, because sometimes beaches are completely destroyed by the storms. And more holidaymakers, as the years go by, are looking for cooler destinations to spend their holidays because they don't want to be sweltering in 35-degree plus temperatures on the Mediterranean. And let's be honest, who can blame them? Now let's have a look at some comments that have been left on the channel recently. One here from Paul Gerard. Hi Stuart, yes, Malay was in Germany. The Chancellor Scholz cancelled the honorary reception for him. There were protests and the joint press conference was also cancelled. Yeah, Paul Gerard, thanks for the comment, and related to something that we saw yesterday, that Hurricane Malay, the Argentine president, was in Madrid last week receiving an award from the community of Madrid, and it was also a controversial event. Then he went to Germany and had various events cancelled because of the protests. So Mr. Malay, or Hurricane Malay as I just called him, sweeping through some European countries and leaving destruction in his wake. Because it seems that people either love Mr. Malay or they hate Mr. Malay with a vengeance. One here from Upton Mana. Well done, Malay. Upton Mana, thanks for the comment, and obviously you fall into the camp that loves Mr. Malay. Don't know why that would be, because I'm imagining that you are not from Argentina and you have nothing to do with Argentine politics. But for some reason, Mr. Malay has become the poster boy for a certain side of politics. And I reckon it's probably got something to do with the fact that he was interviewed by a man called Tucker Carlson, which was, if I'm not mistaken, one of the most viewed interviews of all time on the platform Twitter. Believe it or not. One here from Katherine. Stu, you always have up-to-date and relevant information that is difficult to find on other YouTube channels. My father, Tim, is a huge fan of yours and never misses a single one of your videos. He is planning on retiring to Spain soon, so I have become very familiar with your content and your voice, LOL. Thank you for all the encouragement and comfort you give to others like him. Muchos abrazos. Yeah, Katherine, thanks for the comment and thanks for those nice words, and a big shout out for your father Tim, and I hope all goes well with his planned retirement here in Spain. And it's good to see that people do indeed find the information on this channel useful and helpful. One here from Keith. Ibiza is over everything at the moment, Stu. Tourism, hire vehicles and priced. So glad I never bought there as planned. Yeah, Keith, thanks for the comment, and related to an article that we saw yesterday that some people on the island of Ibiza are complaining that they can't afford the rents there nowadays. The salaries that some people are earning, I think the example that we saw yesterday of between 1,500 and 1,700 euros a month, just not enough to pay rent, because a room for rent on the island of Ibiza in peak season goes for around 1,000 euros a month. That's right, a room on the island of Ibiza. Not an apartment, a room. So people, as you would expect, are forced to live in fairly dire conditions. For example, in the back of their car or van, in a tent somewhere on the island, or sleeping rough wherever they can. So a lot of things on the island of Ibiza at the moment, according to Keith, use the word over-tourism, and overpriced for many things. One here from Pete K. I don't think locals resent tourists, except maybe the bad ones. I think they resent short-term rentals, looking at you, Airbnb, massive cruise ships and greedy realtors that have pushed the locals out of the housing market. Yeah, Pete, thanks for the comment and thanks for your opinion regarding this matter. The anti-tourism sentiment, or the anti-tourist sentiment that is springing up in many parts of the country this year. Well, in fact, it's not only this year, it happened pre-pandemic, but this year and last year we are seeing a lot more people protesting about the over-tourism and the fact that there are just too many tourists invading their space. But it all comes down to one thing, in my opinion. The origin of these problems is always the same: the people that are in control of policy making in this country, or the lack of policy making in this country. Those are the people that create the problems in the first place, as I said, either through regulation or a lack of regulation. And unfortunately, as we see time and time again, they often act too late when the ball has already gone through to the keeper. One here from Gary: lucky in Granada too with the heat, without humidity and cooler mountain air breeze at night. Great update. Yeah, Gary, thanks for the comment. And this is another topic that popped up in yesterday's live stream, because somebody asked me, which summers do I prefer, the hot summers down there in Australia or the hot summers here in Spain? And I said, well, they're a little bit different. For example, where I come from in Perth, summers are not too bad. They're bearable. Yes, you do get some hot days, but there's a nice cool breeze that kicks in every midday and keeps the temperatures down. Whereas here in Madrid, for example, that is not the case. And often in those coastal resorts, especially in places like Malay, where I have spent various summers, you don't get much of a sea breeze, and very humid can be the days. And good to see, Gary, that you have found a place down there in Granada that, despite the hot dry days, has a cool breeze at night that comes in off those mountains and helps you sleep. Because let's be honest, if you can't sleep at night because of hot summer nights, your quality of life goes downhill very quickly, or at least that's been my experience. And the final comment here from Patrick: get some throat lozenges from Mercadona. Eucalyptus I can recommend for live streams. Yeah, Patrick, thanks for the comment, and obviously referring to my coughing fits during yesterday's live stream. I had to pause the video on 2 occasions because I started to cough, and not very comfortable, I can tell you, is the cough that I have at the moment. I can't seem to shake it. But I'll take your advice on board, Patrick, and head down to the local supermarket and pick myself up some of those eucalyptus throat lozenges. Thanks for the advice. On that note, I'm going to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. If you have anything to add to the conversation today, the comment section is the place for you. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.